Hi, good afternoon. Go ahead and call this meeting to order, December 7, 2023. Board of County Commissioners, please turn your cell phone to the vibrate, silence, or off setting. Board of County Commissioners allows any person to speak regarding an item on the agenda. Speaker will be limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chairperson to allow sufficient time for all speakers. Speakers, please refrain from abusive or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, protests, or any other type of conduct which interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Upon completion of the public comment period, discussion will be limited to board members and questions raised by the board. Commissioner Bender?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have Pastor Dr. Jeff Redlin from the Pensacola Christian College Campus Church to deliver the invocation this evening. Thank you.
Please rise.
Let us pray. Father, first, thank you for the wisdom of these today who understand the value of calling on you, even as we're doing at this very moment, seeking your wisdom, your direction, your blessing on that which is before them. And Lord, thank you for these men and women here today who've made sacrifices to serve the people of Pensacola. And they're doing so through means that you have ordained, the workings of human government. May you this day grant these council members the wisdom of Solomon. Lord, give them the courage of David, the simplicity of a child, the unflinching integrity of Jesus. And may they recognize that all authority comes from you. And may they exercise the use of that authority with humility and with obvious grace. And Lord, while policies and procedures come and go, Lord, we are transitory. We quickly fade away. So may those in this chamber always hold fast to the truths that are self-evident, unchanging, and granted by our Creator. And Father, may these your servants know that there are many like me who pray for them often. We're asking you to encourage them when they're weary. May you strengthen them when they are weak. Counsel them when they are uncertain. Correct them, Lord, when they're wrong. And hold them steady when they are right. And use them this day to advance your work in your way here in our home, the city of Pensacola. And Father, may this Christmas we recognize the true reason for peace on earth. Refresh us, renew us, and protect us. Lord, we pray you'd protect many who are traveling, some home from colleges, others to other faraway places. And Lord, all of these things, we're praying in the matchless name of my Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Mike?
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you all. Madam Counsel, any items to be added to the agenda?
No, sir.
Commissioner May?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Nothing
Commissioner Bergosh?
Nothing for me.
Yep, thank you. Mike? Rob?
No, sir.
No. I do not have everything that I had has made it to the agenda, Mr. Administrator. Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved, Mr.
Second.
Chairman.
Thank you. All right. We vote. Hey, how about that? Please vote. It's a Christmas miracle. That's right. First of
It worked.
many this evening, ideally.
Yeah.
Item passes 5-0. Commissioners Forum, Commissioner May.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I certainly want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and whatever your faith makes you celebrate. We celebrate that with you. Certainly want to thank our staff, my office, and Claire Long, and all of our community center workers for working with Community Caring and Sue Strong to make sure that every child in Escambia County gets a toy. I encourage people. The great work that Sue Strong is doing with Community Caring. There's so many young children who are out that won't wake up with a toy or a gift or clothes, and so whatever you can do to support Community Caring or Toys for Tots or your church or your community centers, reach out and help someone. You don't have to do it in a grand fashion, but you can just find a young person in your neighborhood or a kid in your school that needs help. And so we're glad to be a part. We're going to be a part this weekend with Community Care and WAR in trying to make sure that every child in every district wakes up with something for Christmas, and that's very important. Certainly wanted to give our condolences and prayers again to Jerry McIntosh, Carol McIntosh for Moving for Change, who is a leader in our community, lost her life, and we certainly continue to send our prayers. And certainly want to thank our staff. I know many of our staff are volunteering, giving out gifts, and giving back the blessing that God's given to them. So thank the staff for what they're doing and making sure that we make this a better place for the least of them, which are our children. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bergosh.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick things. First of all, I want to thank the county staff who were present for the 2 days of the first of the charrettes for the Beulah Master Plan. The staff from Sigma Consulting and their team engaged the Beulah community for 2 days running, culminating last night at a presentation where we outlined the sketch and the way forward. So I want to personally thank and publicly thank all the citizens who gave their time and went up there and participated. We can't build a good plan for Beulah if we don't have citizens that are engaged. I also was invited to the Home Builders Association annual awards lunch, and I want to offer public congratulations for all the new officers who were installed and for the new president, Dax Campbell. And I also want to really give a shout out to the brand new executive director. She got kind of thrown into the mix of that organization when David Peden left in January, but Jennifer Mancini did a great job for that. I also want to thank everyone who was involved with a very successful, very successful Christmas at the clinic for the Health and Hope Clinic. It's a great organization. They gave out $6 million in free medical and dental care last year. It's an organization I very strongly support. It's an organization this board supports, and it's an organization that serves people and gave 11,000 free medical and dental visits, no copay, no sliding scale, and most importantly, no Medicaid reimbursements. So it saves the county hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So Health and Hope Clinic, shout out to them. And I also want to echo Commissioner May's sentiments. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate you making the HBA event yesterday. I was unable to attend, but could have been more excited and proud to see Dax serving as the president this year. My 13-year public school mate from kindergarten through 12th grade in District 5, and a neighbor, and rode the bus together through middle school, and couldn't be more proud of the work that he's doing and how well he's doing in his career. I'm sure he'll do a great job as president of HBA this year. Commissioner Kohler.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here tonight. Had a good week. I want to say went out this week for Habitat for Humanity. We gave 4 ladies houses. Sadie Patterson was the one I gave. It was very emotional for her and even for me. Most of these women are single women with kids, and they get an opportunity to have a house, and a great program, and I hope the county can work with them in some future endeavors. As you mostly know, yesterday there was a bomb attack on NAS Pensacola. I was out there 4 years ago during the original threat. It's unbelievable. I was going to highlight that was 4 years ago. I was with Ryan Blackwell, one of the sailors that had got shot 6 times. Terrible. And of course, today we have the remembrance of Pearl Harbor. And those things for all our veterans and all the people that experienced that, just know my hearts and thoughts are out there with you. On December 16th, we're going to have the Wreath Across America. If you haven't participated in that, it's pretty moving as well. They put out wreaths across Barrancas National Cemetery. I believe they're still going to allow the public to come out there at 9 o'clock if you want to volunteer. It's usually only an hour and a half because they usually have so many people out there to volunteer. I need to make one comment because there's been a lot of passion about the P&J article. I believe Commissioner Bergosh deserves, I don't know if his stuff was stolen, I think it was. I also think the texts that came out are very disappointing for me. I look at myself on this board as a team member. And no matter what happens, I do think an outside party, if you read the 381-page Sunshine Law, it says the state attorney is the person that's supposed to look into something like this. Doesn't mean that anything was done wrong. And I'm saying that right here. I don't know what's on your text. But I do think to restore the public trust in this body that we should have an outside investigation. And I hope, and I mean this, I don't glee in this, Jeff, at all. I truly hope that there's no wrongdoing by anyone on this board. I don't relish this. It actually stresses me out. I don't know how you all deal with stress, but I'm stressed about it.
You shouldn't be.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it looks good for the board, and I think the board needs to do things. Enough on that. I'll send a letter over to the Attorney General, or a state attorney next week, and I'll ask for an outside investigation. This week, we got the Army-Navy game. For all those people that are in there, my dad was in the Army, and he still roots for the Navy because I was in for a long time. But go Navy, beat Army. Hopefully we'll do it. We usually do, but once in a while the Army gets lucky. And Merry Christmas to everyone. As a person of faith, this is a great time for me. I celebrate Jesus' birth, and it means a lot to me, and I want everyone to know. Hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a quick statement. Mike, you're welcome to send a letter to anyone you want. You heard what I said earlier. There is no there, but you're right. There should be an investigation, and thankfully there is. The FBI is investigating who stole the county records, including records that trigger a felony. That's why they're looking at it, and there's another entity now investigating. I'm meeting with them on next week. If you want to send a letter, by all means do so. Have your friend Glenn and your secretary Steve do it as well. And then Ginger Madden, who is the state attorney, will make a determination. But I will tell you this, there is no there. And for you to call for a public investigation based on an article that came out, based on text messages that have been stolen and manipulated, I think is incredibly unprofessional. But send your letter and let the chips fall. There is no there.
Have you taken ethics training? What's the course of action? The course of action is clear.
I'm not going to have you lecture me. I've been in this business a little bit longer than you. You might be a better nurse.
LOL.
Commissioner Bender.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to congratulate District 4 resident Candace Seeger, who 70, who competed in the Florida Senior Game Swimming Championships in Tampa, Florida on December 2nd and 3rd. Candace, the only swimmer representing Escambia County, competed in 5 events and brought home 2 silver medals and 3 bronze medals. So congratulations to her. A great job representing Escambia County. My condolences to the family of Jim Dickerson, who passed away. Was able to go to his service on Monday. Also, thank you to the Pensacola Beach Chamber for inviting me to participate in the Pensacola Beach Surf and Santa Parade that was held on Sunday, December 3rd. Very happy that the weather held. And also want to thank Ray Melton and the Pensacola Beach Fire Department Station 13 for participating in the Surf and Santa Parade. So they were able to put Santa up on the tower at the end of the parade, so that was great that they were able to do that. As a result of the weather, though, the day before, the boat parade on Pensacola Beach has been rescheduled to December 9th at 6:30. The boat parade begins in Little Sabine Bay and ends in Santa Rosa Sound near the boardwalk. Santa will make his way to the Quiet Water Shell to greet the children, followed by a brief fireworks display from Santa Rosa Sound. Also, we have the Cox Pensacola Christmas Parade Saturday at 5:30 downtown. Also like to recognize Jose and Angela for decorating the chambers. It was actually something that didn't happen last year, and so they took the initiative to make sure that it was decorated for this evening and had to redo a lot of the decorations, so I appreciate that. And then, of course, our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to everyone that was involved in the December 6th NAS Pensacola terrorist attack that had the 4-year anniversary yesterday. You know, that is, of course, I wasn't there when it happened, but shortly after the scene was secured, we made our way out there. And it's definitely a day that I will never forget. And so, you know, I can't, just in the thoughts and memories that I have, I can't imagine for those that were there and what they continue to deal with. So please keep those whose lives that we lost and those that survived in your thoughts and prayers for that. And then finally, want to thank our staff, wish them a Merry Christmas, hope you enjoy the holidays. I know there's some events that are coming out over the next few weeks, so hopefully I'll get to see you in person, and thank you for the great work that you've done this year. And enjoy the rest of the year, and hopefully you can enjoy your time with family and celebrate how you desire. But we're glad to have everybody. I think as a board, I think I could speak that we are very proud of the work that comes out of our employees and the way you serve the constituents. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Bender. I want to congratulate the Tate High School girls golf team. They were crowned the state of Florida academic champions this week in 3A. Also want to congratulate the Northview High School FFA alumni chapter. They went through multiple levels of application and competition, and a few weeks back, I guess 2 weeks ago, they were named the #1 chapter in the country at the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis. They're very involved. Something this board has supported over the years has been the livestock show, the GCA NRYO and the livestock show and the Blue Jacket Jamboree have kind of paired themselves together many times at the 4-H property in Molino, and that Blue Jacket Jamboree is put on by the Northview FFA alumni chapter, and it's just is a very active chapter and do a tremendous amount of community good up there, and to be recognized as the top chapter in the United States is quite an honor. And then also some good news: the Teacher of the Year finalists, top 5 came out this past week, and 3 of the 5 are in District 5. I want to recognize my friend Candace Blackburn from Molina Park, Cassie McGee from Pine Meadow, and Rihanna Wages from Lipscomb. Three of the fine teachers in District 5 made it to the top 5 in the county. So we're very excited about that. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say thank you to Jose and Delana and Russell Clark and everybody, Nikki Powell, everybody who's played a role in working with Civic Clerk. There's a lot of mock meetings held and recordings sent to Civic Clerk, but Jose has done a fantastic job. Jose, I really enjoy working with you. You've made a huge impact on the 4th floor. And Delana, you're just a ray of sunshine here up here on the dais, and we appreciate your hard work and all the things you do to help support us. I really appreciate that. But to the staff and the directors, I just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thank you for all your hard work. It's difficult sometimes to stay focused, but y'all do it very well. You stay focused, you keep your eye on the ball, you get the work done, you drive the work, and you do it very professionally, and your interactions with the public are very professional, and I appreciate that so much. I know how hard it is. I've been there. I'm still there, but it's different when you're in the trenches. It really is, and you interact with the different personalities out there sometimes that you have to interact with. But I want to thank y'all, wish y'all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and I look forward to seeing y'all at some of your Christmas events. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Next are
Mr. Chairman?
yes, sir. I apologize, Mr. Mack.
No. Whenever you mention sports, I get pretty excited. Although it's a private school, I certainly want to congratulate Catholic High School. Many of those, it's in my district. It's in District 3. They went to the semifinals, and many of those young people play at Legion Field and McGee Field that I'm intimately involved with. And so congratulations for Catholic for going further than any other team in Northwest Florida, and they went to the semifinal, and they have a great diversity, a lot more than when I attended. So we're glad that those kids were successful. So
it was interesting to see that. My nephew played football at Catholic.
Yes, sir.
Transferred there from Tate, but both my parents graduated from Bradford County. They were Bradford County's Tornadoes class of 1958, which is who Catholic fell to this past Friday night in Stark. And,
I didn't know.
Yeah, so it was interesting, and I've got some extended family that was on that team. But
well, we're always interested in transfers at Catholic. I mean, so we'll take
from Stark, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll transfer. But I didn't see him here tonight. I want to thank Don Christian. I mean, publicly, we like to thank staff and all those. But I certainly in our neighborhoods, the sidewalks and paving, in my opinion, had been neglected. And my office put a lot of pressure on Don the last 12 months, and Don Son, I want to publicly thank you because you're aggressively going after those historically minority neighborhoods that have been neglected. And so, Wes, thank you. Couldn't be done without you, Wes. But, Don, I do appreciate you being on the ground, making sure that it happens, and don't stop the sidewalks and the paving, Don.
Lemon, did you know he was getting an employee of, I mean, I don't spoil anything later.
Oh, no, I know, I
He's
know.
getting the employee of the year.
Yeah, I
There you
know,
go.
yeah,
Look.
yeah.
I mean,
That's why I nominated him.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I only nominated the people that win.
Yeah,
I
only people that
didn't
win.
nominate-
Yeah,
I didn't nominate the people
Yeah,
that
those
didn't
other
win.
ones, man, they lost.
Yeah, I didn't nominate them.
Maybe put some sidewalks in your district then. I don't know.
Absolutely. Next, probably the highlight of the evening, but Winterfest, you're up. Do we have some guests? I don't know if we have any guests outside. I see some guests inside.
Excuse me, I'm getting a message I shouldn't be getting right now. Thank you very much for your hospitality, and this is our 15th year appearing before you and bringing Santa directly to Escambia County from the wilds of the North Pole. We're happy to be here, and I'm going to turn the program over to Martha May Huvier, the lovely girlfriend of the Grinch.
Super.
In Pensacola we gather with joy and good cheer. To the commissioners, we thank you for having us each year. We cause quite a ruckus. Is it rude or playful antics? Well, call it what you like. After all, it's just semantics. A new Winterfest tour we will proclaim tonight. No need for directions, just follow the light. But first, let's welcome Santa in. We can't let him down. So please join me in singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He knows you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Thank you. Thank you.
Ho, 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 and a Merry Christmas to you all. If I may, I would like to read a Winterfest proclamation written by me. Whereas the Escambia County Commissioners once again have made it possible for me, Santa Claus, to bring holiday happiness and joy to the children of Pensacola and their families by allowing me to park my sleigh in front of the courthouse during Winterfest activities. Whereas I have observed during this most difficult year, the children of the Escambia County area have shown themselves to be the cutest, nicest, and most polite children in all the world, but also brave and hopeful just when we all need it the most. Whereas the enchanting display of holiday lights in downtown Pensacola make my visit to this city one of the highlights of my Christmas Eve journey. And whereas national recognition of Pensacola Winterfest will continue to bring thousands of holiday merrymakers to our city and county as it has throughout the years. Now, therefore, I, Santa Claus, solemnly name Pensacola and Escambia County my favorite place to visit during the Christmas season. And a Merry Christmas to you all, and we thank you so much for your help.
Excuse me, I'm a concerned citizen, and I have a right. I'll be with you in a second. I have a right to be here, okay?
Obviously, we did not invite him, but here he is.
Wow, you didn't invite me and think I'd show up?
Well, we were hoping. Anyway, thank you so much for helping with Winterfest. We really appreciate it. Your participation makes it possible for us to do this every year, and we do really appreciate that. So again, thank you all.
No, thank you. Okay, bye, bye, bye. Well, well, well. Pensacola, here I stand. Yes, take a good look at me. I, the Grinch, with a proclamation and mischief in hand.
Need help unfolding that, or you okay?
Okay, that's good. All right, I am hosting a tour with the Hoosh and Cindy Lou Who, a Whoville Christmas caper. Let the excitement grow! Well, clap! Yeah! Wow, okay. But don't worry, Cindy Lou Who's the star in this festive display. Join my trolley tour. Don't miss the foray. Through Pensacola will roam in a mischievous spree. A Grinch-style adventure. Just wait and see. Ooh, my previous tour you should also catch. With a devious flair. It's the Grinch's merry match. A tour like no other. Starring me and the mayor. Oh my. Plus, Martha May Whovier? Martha? Hey. Oh, Martha, hey. Did you do something with your hair? I mean, to bring a festive flair. Yeah, that. Our trolley recycled from Mount Crumpet's debris, where garbage turns merry. Just wait and see. The Whoville will roll on a magical ride, the true spirit of Christmas, giving me gifts with pride. Don't be shy. Okay. On both toy tours, where the trouble endures, mark your calendars, Pensacola, for Grinchy detours. Remember, it's not Christmas without a dash of Grinchiness. We'll see you all soon once you're done with this governing business. Okay. Keep telling yourselves that. All right. Well, you guys have anything to say?
Thank you, Mr. Grinch.
Also, I'll be stealing Christmas. This time it will be successful. I promise. But, you know, those are not very valid.
It's all right. I'm sure you'll do better this year.
I'm not.
Merry
I promise.
Christmas,
I won't.
everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry
Thank you. All right. Thank you, board. They're nearly out of the chambers. Next item is to adopt the proclamations.
Move the second.
Thank you. Please vote. We got one. Is that
I'm
the
going to
peak?
reset the vote, Mr. Chairman. Hold on one second.
Maybe, maybe not.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to, for Christmas, we're gonna have to hunt down Kathleen Doe Castro and see what happened with the voting machines from 11 years ago when Lumen and I were elected. Please
for one
vote.
vote anyway.
All those in favor? All right. Item passes 5-0.
That's close.
Yeah, Madam County Engineer.
Good evening.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm going to let Chris do the honors, but I wanted to just say one quick thing about this employee and this partner in crime that we have here with us tonight. It's Don Christian. Worked with him for many years and consider him to be somewhat family. And that means that we're dysfunctional in our own way, right? But seriously, our careers together have been very diverse through the years, been in many changes that we've worked through and enjoyed working together. And Don has never been one of those guys to shy away from anything you ask him to do. He's even been involved with things like paratransit, which is pretty amazing to ask someone with no background in that at all to take over and help me with that project. So that's one of those things that you get from someone like Don, and everybody needs a Don in their department, but you can't have mine. Seriously, though, Don is one of those people that doesn't say no. He might grump at me a little bit, but he never says no, and he gets the job done. He follows through, and I'm proud to be associated with him. Don, I don't know why, but you never say no, and you could have run, but you didn't. So thank you.
So real quick, we will run through the proclamation for the Employee of the Month as well as the Employee of the Year in the interest of time. I won't read it, but Don's been with the county since April of 2007. When I first came to the Escambia County back almost 2 years ago, I was very apprehensive about the staff I had because I had no idea. And Don was one of the first people that welcomed me in and was very helpful for me. Don is one of those folks that knows where everything is hidden. And if you need something done, Don is your guy to go get it done. Don is, once again, serving on the technical coordinating committee for the TPO. He's been on there before, come off, and he's back on again. Don also is the engineering department's liaison for the Escambia County Disability Awareness Committee. Don works very hard to stretch the county dollars, the taxpayer dollars, to get as many sidewalks in the ground as possible, as efficiently as possible. And to Commissioner May's point, he has worked very hard in the Brownsville community these past few months with the CRA folks and with ECUA and with our construction division to make sure that while we're in there putting in new sewer and new roads, that we're also getting sidewalks in. And, you know, sidewalks are just a very small piece of the puzzle to bring pride into a community. We see it over and over where just a strip of concrete really brightens the area up and cleans it up along with new pavement and lighting. So, Don, thank you for being part of my team. I appreciate it. I know you have a lengthy speech prepared, so I'll let you jump right in. Thank you, sir.
It's not going to be lengthy.
Thanks, Sharon.
That's my girl there.
Don, if I'd known you written something out, I wouldn't have made those comments.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm very overwhelmed and gratefully gratitude by the fact that I got Employee of the Month and was told Employee of the Year. So I'm very honored to have that. I had a speech put up here, but it's not going to run through. But I just want to say thank you for this. I'm very honored to have this. I didn't do this by myself. I have a lot of people to thank. One is Joy Blackman. I'm glad that you came back. Chris, you're an awesome boss to work with. I got Wendy. I got Robin, Evelyn, TJ, James Duncan, Debbie Bowers, Wes Marino. I mean, I couldn't do this without them. I mean, they taught me a lot. I've learned a lot, and I still have a little bit more to go. But I really appreciate the honor, and I will wear this well for the first month, and I'll wear the rest of it for the year. So, again, I appreciate it. And my mom, who surprised me coming up here. So, I tried to keep her home, but she came out anyway. So I'm very honored to have that. And my sister and brother-in-law, 2 nephews back there. Love y'all. I want to give a shout out to all the coworkers that I work with, all the departments. I've touched every department of doing something as far as a sidewalk or speed bump or striping, whatever the case may be. I look forward to the few years I plan to work here, which is about 7. So, so just to let y'all know, I mean, I'm going to, so I appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. We're also ratifying 3 other proclamations. Did the clerk's office receive proof? Oh, I apologize. Yeah. Yeah, please. Thought I saw him turn around and walking away.
Oh, and there will be pictures. Debbie Bowers must come up here, please. Hold up. Come on. Sean, Jackson, come up here, please. Where's Claire? Claire Horace, please come up here.
Come on, man. Get out of here.
Hustle.
Come on. These people want to go home. Hurry up. They want to go home. Hurry up.
And everybody else, please come on down.
Thank you.
All right. There you go, buddy.
Maybe check. That's what you want. Thank you, sir. Mom, this is Joy. This is the director. Thank you again. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Don. And I apologize. Y'all turned around to walk away, and I put my head down and began reading again.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may, just real quick, I just want to congratulate Ken on his retirement. He was actually one of the guys that I spent some time with when I did my facilities day when I first came on the board, and we built the storage behind the screens at EOC, and
Yeah.
so I know he's been out working at the EOC for a while, and so I just want to thank him for his years of service, and George Bush, so thank you.
Absolutely. And the last proclamation we ratified was the proclamation where we're accepting the flag from the USS Oriskany a few weeks back, ratifying that proclamation. Did the clerk's office receive proof of publication?
Mr. Chairman, the clerk's office has received all proofs.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to waive the
I
reading.
move that we waive the reading.
Second.
Thank you. Are we trying to vote on this again? All right. Please, we're going to try the computers again.
We're going to
Okay.
try it again.
There we go.
All right, let's try it.
2 out of 3. All right. Item passes 5-0. 531, public hearing. Do we have any speakers? Board, I'd entertain a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. Uh, 2 out of 4. Oh, there we go. How about that? All right, 3 out of 4. Item passes 5-0. 533, public hearing, considering an ordinance related to pedestrian roadway safety. I'd entertain a motion. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Item passes 5-0. Yes.
I just would like to thank the legal staff for all the work on that. I know the city's passed some stuff. I think it's a small move forward for public safety, and I just really appreciate your work on it.
Absolutely. Madam Clerk?
Yeah, the city's I think the city was waiting on our precedent.
I'm sorry.
I don't know about
Thank you. I have three items on the consent agenda tonight. The first one is the TDT collections for the September, and you'll see in September there was an increase by 5%. Tells you a lot about September, the stays at our beach and our other areas, including Perdido Key at 1.7 million. The second is the acceptance of our October investment report. You'll see both the short-term and the portfolio is earning over 5%, which is reflective of what's going on in the market today. And there's the third, which is minutes and reports that we've prepared for the office. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Move the clerk's report.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. Gotcha. Item passes 5-0. Horace?
Yes,
Growth
sir.
Management?
Yes, sir. For tonight, we have rezoning case Z 2023-24 from low-density residential to low-density mixed use. The planning board made a recommendation for approval.
Any speakers?
There is a speaker. And for any time we have a speaker, I'll say this one time, for any time we have a speaker tonight or going forward, I assume it's always the preference we would have the speaker first.
Yeah, sure.
Gotcha. All right. Teresa Blackwell.
Good evening again. So I looked at this item. I look at all the planning board items that will affect Beulah. And when I looked at it, I saw that they wanted to change to commercial, this property, which happens to be at the entrance to the Keystone subdivision. Since the property next door was commercial, at first I thought, well, this will get approved. It's not, you know, I won't need to bother even going down there to talk about it. They're going to approve it. You know, there seems to be a lot going on up there. So anyway, but then I looked at the staff analysis from, it turned out Horace. And I couldn't bring up what I said last time to see what I said, but it's been a month ago. But at the time, I know Horace brought up land development code issues that meant that commercial was not a good choice. As a transition between commercial property and low-density residential property, our land development code specifically says what is a good transition between those two, and LDMU would be. So I argued for that, which is actually what Horace had recommended. So the applicant right there in the meeting changed their request to LDMU, which is much more appropriate for that location. So my big thing I want to say tonight, I'm not against this at all. I mean, I along with Horace, suggested it. So, but I appreciate very much the quality of the analysis from Horace in this case. A couple of the planning board's members pushed back because that's normally not what we've done in the past. If there's commercial next to it, then it's a pretty automatic approval. But in this case, it didn't happen. So I want to see more analysis like that is done with the best professional opinion of staff, regardless of what they might think that the commission wants to hear or normally does. And then you all have the option to not agree if you like. So that's just the main thing. I just appreciate the quality of that analysis and want to see more like that. Thank you.
Yeah, I move the item in the affirmative.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And it's to
Approve it. Yes.
approve the rezoning as recommended by the planning board.
Absolutely. It was a unanimous decision of the planning board. So, yeah.
Board, please vote. Item passes 5-0. The 545 hearing is the.
Zoning map?
Yep. Move the 545.
Thank you. Second? Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Please vote. All right. Item passes 5-0, Horace.
The next item is rezoning case Z 2023-25 from LDR to commercial. The planning board made a recommendation for approval.
Any speakers, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Buddy Page.
He's waving in support, I'm assuming.
I would assume so. Commissioner Burgash, you've got the floor.
Yeah, I'd move the item in the affirmative. It's another unanimous approval.
Second,
by the
Mr.
planning
Chairman.
board.
All right. Seeing no discussion, please vote. Item passes 5-0. The 546 is amending the map, taking into consideration the previous item.
Move the 546.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. Horace?
The next item is to 547. This is to review and adopt a small-scale map amendment 2023-10.
All right, Board. Ray Palmer. I apologize. Scott Remington. You're waving his support. I see him in the back. Again, I apologize, Ray. Board, that was the only speaker. I'd entertain a motion.
Move to 547.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Second, so Mr. Remington can go.
Please vote. Well, he might not want to leave. I mean, if he can bill, I don't know. Maybe I'd want to move to the
He bills it more than Meredith and Will. They're probably going to lose their job.
They did. If they didn't watch, they don't even know where I was in the agenda. I actually had to stay till the end.
Yeah, exactly. You should have held him up.
Item passes 5-0. Horace?
The next item is to 548. This is to review and adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 3, the overlay district. This is to review and adopt. This is the second hearing.
Thank you. Speaker is Casey Feltner.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair. My name is Casey Feltner. I'm here on behalf of the constituent for 511 South Old Corey Field Road, Pensacola, Florida, 32507. I know I have a brief time. I have 2 points to make and then a policy argument to make with regard to the second reading, and I do understand it's a second reading. But by way of brief background, my client has land that I described as the residential parcel. The reason that I am here speaking tonight on the ordinance is because I did not realize, nor was my client informed nor notified of this ordinance until I did a continual follow-up on what should be a DRC case for a proposed cell tower. That DRC case is 23051-866, P as in Papa, S as in Sierra, P as in Papa. The first point that I'd like to make is that the staff report is lacking for a number of statutory reasons and also lacking for a number of policy reasons. The second point that I will make is the factual background behind why I'm here speaking on this ordinance. And it's not that I don't want the ordinance to ultimately pass, but I want to make sure that not only my client's rights are preserved, that the county constituents' rights are preserved, and that this ordinance reflects, if we're going to be making these type of policy changes, the type of argument that I'll be making in front of this board with regard to the cell tower changes. So going to my first point, looking at the staff analysis, there is nothing contemplated underneath 163 that takes into account municipal overlay amendments. The second point being that this proposed structural height annexation, if you will, for Warrenton County does not take into account the fact that it's a airfield influence planning district, AIDP, and there are specific regulations underneath the comprehensive plan with regard to that proposal. And the LDC is not addressed with regard to cell tower issues. That moves me to my second point. Again, I'm running out of time. In essence, this seems to be a workaround on cell tower height with regard to the proposed project that I had talked about earlier, i.e. a constituent was coming to do a cell tower variance, realized that that wasn't able to be accomplished, so therefore we're moving to take out all the height. If you look at the proposed language in the ordinance, it completely strikes out all height. There is no backstop on this type of ordinance. So with the time that I have left, on a policy argument standpoint, I think this opens up the floodgates that if a constituent does not like what is going to be passed down with regard to a proposed DRC hearing, then we would look to move to strike an ordinance and embed itself with regard to a complete policy change. And with that, I'll yield my time.
Thank you.
Hey, Casey, just for the public record, Casey's mom works for me. The one, Casey, I just want to say one thing. So we worked with Steve Opelika on the height requirements with the base. It was on the ACUS study, and they were fine with that overlay change. So that's the first thing. The other thing was there's already a tower. I think you know this. It's above 40 feet in Warrington, and I think it's the competitor that you're going against. So from that competition, I think that's the argument. The bigger, and I know this isn't, you're just talking about towers. The concern I have now, more so than that, and I'll just say it since this has to do with the towers, the parking, I think it's going to affect all of us that have high urban density, not considering a garage. I didn't realize that, and I'll tell you, I think that's going to be a big problem for at least a couple of our districts because it'll completely stifle some development. But I just wanted you to know the base was aware, Steve O'Blake knows about this, and we were good on the tower heights.
Excellent. And I forgot to mention, I apologize. One, I appreciate the Go Navy, and I'm Coast Guard, so if the Coast Guard Bears could actually be in D1, that would be great. And then to District 4, Mr. Dickerson was a dear friend of mine. I went to EDS with his son and his daughter, and so I really appreciate the comments, Commissioner Bender. I'm able to answer any questions if any of the commissioners have any.
Was your grandfather Navy?
Yes, yes, he was. Yes, he was, Commissioner.
All right. Thank you. Please have a seat, Casey. Board, Commissioner Bergosh?
No, I'm sorry.
Any other comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I think the parking issue, I don't know if y'all have entertained this. When I found out that we weren't counting garages, that put a big concern for me. And I mean, any development without not considering a garage as a parking space, I've never not used a garage. I've always sought out a house with a garage. I think it could cause some serious developmental problems for multiple districts, not just mine. It would stifle about 350, just on this item alone, probably 350 units in District 2 that are being planned. And I've been in 2 different meetings on affordable housing with sailors from the base. This parking issue could be a disaster.
All right, Board, I entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Okay. Is there a second? All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Item passes 5-0. Horace?
The next item is our consent agenda for January the 9th, 2024.
Move the consent agenda.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. Mr. Administrator?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are 24 items on the technical public service consent agenda. Please make the following changes. Hold card 1-15, card 1-24 for Commissioner Berry to abstain, and card 1-20 for some discussion.
All right. Mr. Administrator, or I guess Madam Counsel, can we, because one of the abstentions in car 1 is related to the 3 that are in car 2, can I do them all together?
You can do them all together, but you need to state with specificity the nature of the conflict and the agenda items that you're abstaining
Yeah,
from, and then we can turn them
Okay.
all in.
Okay.
We do have them, Madam
I'm saying I
Clerk,
can read
in
it one
separate
time. I can itemize the items and, okay.
We just need to make sure we pull each one of those
Okay.
as we go
I
along.
got you.
And
All right, car 1-15, so this abstention all relates to the same entity. Car 1-15, car 2-50, car 2-55, car 2-56. I, Stephen Berry, hereby disclose on December 7, 2023, a measure came or will come before my agency which, inured to the special gain or loss of Ryan Shavers. The measure before my agency and the nature of my conflicting interest in the measure is as follows. Escambia County Board of County Commissioners, December 7, 2023, County Administrator's Report. Again, 1-15, 2-50, 2-55, and 2-56. They all present a conflict of interest pursuant to statute 112.3143 Florida statutes or the appearance of a conflict of interest pursuant to statute 286.012 Florida statutes, because Ryan Shavers, principal of Shavers Construction, is my client. So if we could pull those 4 items out, Mr. Administrator, move the 1 in car 1 and the 3 in car 2. If there's no discussion from the board, I'd entertain a motion for those 4 items.
I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. Those four items passed 4-0 with 1 abstention, which was Commissioner Berry's abstention. Now, card 1.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Briefly on 15, I want to thank Joy Blackman. Obviously, off of Hancock, we've had a lot of drainage, stormwater. Typically, we're having to acquire land. Through Joy and her staff, they were able to get probably a $3 million investment from Mr. Shavers to help with the stormwater problems that we've had. And most people know that we had the problem with Henry Homes when we had the new subdivision over there, and we have a flooding problem around Brown Boys. But Joy, I want to publicly thank you and Ryan. This is a real big deal for this county to get a $3 million contribution that the taxpayers don't have to pay. So Joy, thank you, and thank Mr. Shavers for working together. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. And then car 1-24. I, Stephen Berry, hereby disclose on December 7, 2023, a measure came or will come before my agency, which all right, Madam Counsel, one of these is not really checked. I don't know what, there's not really a gain or loss to me, but I do own the appearance. Okay, so I don't need to check a box? Okay, all right. So the measure before my agency and the nature of my conflicting interest in the measure is as follows. Escambia County Board of County Commissioners meeting December 7, 2023, County Administrator's Report 124. Recommendation concerning the scheduling of a public hearing for January 9, 2024 at 5:35 p.m. to consider the vacation of a drainage easement located in Grand Oaks Farm Subdivision presents a conflict of interest pursuant to Statute 112.3143 Florida statutes, where the appearance of a conflict of interest pursuant to Statute 286.012 Florida statutes, because my wife and I own property in Grand Oaks Farm Subdivision. So I'd entertain a motion for that scheduling of a hearing. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. Item passes 4-0 with 1 abstention, being Commissioner Berry abstaining. Thank you. And if there are no speakers for car 1, so I'd entertain a motion for the balance.
There are no speakers. We need to hold car 1-20 for, I think, Commissioner Bender to discuss.
Okay. Move the balance.
Thank you. Thank you. Please vote. Balance of car 1 passes 5-0. Car 1-20, Commissioner Bender.
Yes, sir. I would just like to amend the requested time to include from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. to give flexibility due to weather, and also add, in the event that they are not able to have the event this weekend, to add Saturday, December 16th as a rain date from the same 7 p.m. to 9.
Item passes 5-0. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you,
I'm
Wes.
sorry.
I appreciate it. I have my light on for number 15. You have a donation of property. I needed to get some clarification from the county attorney, and that is, what is the value of the asset that the county is receiving that will go on the county books? I was just a little confused. It's had 2 sales in 3 years, and the appraisal was only 165, and now it looks at the 8232 that the county's going to execute, that it's at 2.3 million. And it appears that there's 16 acres, but we're not getting all of the acres. So what is the value of this? What is the value that the county is getting, and how can we execute an 8232?
8283.
8232? Is it an 8232?
It says an 82.
283, there you go. 8283.
I frankly, I don't know. I haven't looked at that. I had thought in the past that the county had deferred providing those valuations, but I don't know the answer.
Madam Clerk, I thought it was on the private party to ascertain the value. I didn't know the county.
That was what I thought the past practice
It
had
is,
been.
but when something's over $1 million,
Okay.
and I need to know from you the asset that's going on the books, because when I look at the property appraiser's website, that 16 acres was only $165,000, and then it sold again just September of '22 for 200, I think it was. That's what they said the value is. And now we're going to sign an 8283 for 2.3 million. Has that been substantially enhanced in the last 14 months?
I'm not prepared to answer that.
Okay.
I don't know
I
the
just
answer.
don't know how a county can sign an 8283 to the federal government, IRS, saying that this is a $2.3 million piece of property, and I got to put it on the books. So if we're only getting less than 16 acres and it's not worth 2.3, I don't think we can sign the 8283, and I need to substantiate what the value of that is. So you might want an independent appraiser before you go forward with this, or maybe call the appraiser's office, Chris Jones' office, but I don't think this can go forward. I don't think you can sign an 8283 in the fashion that it is. I just thought I would bring that to your attention now, because I'm going to need some help on this.
Absolutely,
Okay.
understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I can't, and Madam Clerk, I can't see your light for the files that are in between us. So, Wes, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's 73 items on the Budget Finance Consent Agenda. We've already voted on CAR 250, 255, and 256. And so there's a balance, the remaining balance, and hold CAR 2-48 for a speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Administrator. Board, any other items in CAR 2, the budget finance, that need to be held for our discussion? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for the balance.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. The balance passes 5-0. Car 2-48, Ray Palmer.
Good evening. Thank you for considering our request to review this agenda item. There are two items that are on the agenda. One is the release of the contract for 5990 Red Cedar Street on Innerarity. The other item is a refund request for the purchaser who submitted an offer, and the county is currently holding $40,000. If you look through the marketing materials, you can see that the property was indicated to be 0.65 acres. Half of that lot is already underwater. There's been extensive erosion. When the Mr. Carpoza, who put the offer in, visited the site on Exhibit B, you can see that the building area is substantially reduced and almost unbuildable. So I would request that the item regarding the deposit be tabled at this time to give perhaps Ms. Rogers' office a chance to review our legal position on the return of that deposit.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Board, any comments, any questions? All right, entertain a motion.
I move this item in the affirmative, that we hold the deposit.
Is there a second? Mr. Moon, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Oops. Item passes 5-0. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The three items on my discussion agenda. The first item is concerning the supervisor of elections request to add a voting precinct in the western section of Escambia County.
I think they feel good about their position. They did not attend this evening, so they must have liked the discussion this morning. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Administrator.
Item number 2 is, again, OLF 8, the letter of interest. I'm sure you are aware we did see an updated letter of interest this afternoon. And we have 5 speakers signed up to speak. The first will be Teresa Blackwell.
Hey, Mr. Administrator, do we need to take action on discussion 1?
Yeah, I think,
It does seem that, it says that it is required to seek the approval of the Board of County Commissioners prior to any changes. So if that is the case, then I mean, Jeff, if you
yeah,
believe.
I would think that he would need.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see you here. I didn't see you there, Sonia.
I think
Okay.
he would need a vote, a majority vote of this board to
Okay,
establish
I
the
apologize.
precinct.
I'll certainly make the motion that we authorize and approve what they've recommended.
Second.
All right, please vote. Item passes 5-0. Thank you, Sonia. Teresa.
Good evening once again. Okay, so when I saw the offer from Fred Hammer and his partners, my first thought was Christmas has come early. These people want to follow the master plan. They're talking about not only their plan was much like the DPZ plan, and not only that, they said they wanted to honor the intent of the design code, were magic words for me. So, but then I listened to the discussion this morning, which did not turn out to be positive overall. But I think we have a good offer on the table, the best so far, and Fred has been talking with me since before we even had a master plan. We talked about ideas of new urbanism and what we could have on OLF 8 with a town center and all of that. And I know he's been interested in it for years, and his intentions, I feel, are good. So I'm with Burgosh on this one. Sorry he's not here to register his surprise, but his suggestion was we retool it and let him come back in with, considering some of the things you all talked about earlier. And that is what I would do. I'm also with Commissioner Bender. If we start selling off pieces like that, like a patchwork quilt, West 9 Mile is going to look like East 9 Mile with sprawl, strip retail, and we will not have that town center. So as always, I am for that DPZ master plan. I'll have a column in P&J this Sunday, and Commissioner May, my regrets looking back on it, I should have said I listed my points that I was worried about, but I should have mentioned that we want affordable housing. We want that developer, whoever it is, to build so that people can afford to live there. And so you will see that column. And unfortunately, you turn those columns in before, like on Monday. So you have to be kind of like trying to predict the future when you write them. So you will see that if you read the paper, which I know you don't. So, okay. So Commissioner Burgosh, good idea. We bring it back. Let him come back. He is intent on doing this, and I think he will do his best to do a good job. And he has talked, I questioned him. I said, you don't have experience in this kind of a big project, commercial town center. And he said, well, I'm going to have partners who are. Now, he needs to reveal who those partners are, so we need to know that before we bring him, But we can negotiate all that. That can all be negotiated, just the whole, But you do need to decide what it is as a board that you're actually selling, that we shouldn't just have a sign up there, 500 acres for sale, if we're not really wanting one buyer to it just leaves it all open as to what people can say they want to buy. So, and then you're disappointed when they don't leave you your 250 acres.
Teresa.
So, I know.
Thank you.
Get the hook out. So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Remington. Fred Hammer.
Am I the last one?
Nope.
Can I go last?
Sure. David Talar.
He's with me.
Cecilia Campbell.
Good evening. First of all, I want to tell Commissioner Bagash what a cool thing it was to see the Beulah Master Plan in action and all of the beautiful photos that they put out for us to put our green and red dots on. Most of that was what I was envisioning for OLF 8. Because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, where can we put this in Beulah? And seeing the process yesterday morning was really pretty cool because they're finding spots that they didn't even know about, for Beulah. So my hopes are high. I'm here to really push support for Fred Himmer's design and his company's design because it looks really great. And I agree with Teresa. It's like, has Christmas come early? This looks very good. I'm especially excited about the green space that goes all the way up to Frank Reeder Road. That was very exciting because we had a small buffer with the DPZ design. So if we have that all the way through, then that's going to give access to all of those houses up and down Frank Reeder Road too. And that was a very exciting point in that. And I'm sure that there's a lot of negotiation to be done, but I'm very excited to see local people in on this and all of our money not going to somewhere up north, a company that we are not pleased with. So this is very hopeful to me, and I'm here as a big supporter. I hope that all of you agree. The only negative I've heard was, and I'm a little curious about it, is from Commissioner Berry. I can't imagine anyone nixing this great idea, and I think that there's plenty of time for negotiation. So that's why I'm so hopeful about this new proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Fred, you or David want to come?
Thank you. Fred Hemmer, 207 East Intendencia Street. I think you all know we've been following this for 5 or 6 years since the beginning. And, I built a big subdivision around the corner there. So I've been out in that area many times, and I've sort of have a feel for what needs to be there. We had hired Dewberry, Clark Partington to help us, with our due diligence. And I know we sent you all a letter about a year ago saying we didn't think the DPZ plan as presented worked, for quite a few reasons. We didn't want to be disingenuous and submit an offer at that time because we really didn't think it really worked. So we backed out, and we watched and listened to all the other people that came here and have been taking notes, and we've met with everybody here, and we were trying to make sure that we checked all the boxes, that we considered not only everybody up here, everybody back here. I've been attending the meetings, attending with Florida West, with the school superintendent, trying to make sure that we've taken in all the information we can to help, develop something that is good for the area. We firmly believe this needs to be a town center. And the only way it's going to be a town center is if you have one developer do the whole thing. If you start piecemealing this, none of those people piecemealing are going to build or take care of a town center. I don't think. I haven't seen that happen. So anyway, we submitted our offer. Obviously, I was here this morning, and Commissioner Berry, when you talked about the 250 acres, I really wanted to say something, but I couldn't. But I knew the exhibit that we gave showed just the acreage of the upland portion of those yellow areas. It didn't include the roads, didn't include the other areas in there. So when I left here today, went back to David Tiller with Dewberry, recalculated it, and came up with a line that gets us right at that 250 acres. We included some of the retention ponds that your land would be draining into, so I think it would be appropriate to make that consideration. So I think that exhibit was submitted. I don't know if you all have that, but I'm willing to listen to any questions, provide any answers. The one thing that Teresa said, she's right. While we have development experience, it takes somebody that has the town center experience, that knows how to develop that synergy, to make it work. We have 2 parties that we are in serious negotiations with, and they're on hold right now pending seeing if we are going forward, with the county on an acquisition of this. And if so, then we're going to be immediately picking one of them. They will be disclosed. I mean, if you want to come back up and see a, dog and pony show by them, they will be able to do that. So, been here 14 years. I live part-time here, part-time in St. Petersburg, go back and forth. But, my heart is in both places. And I think, what I've done in the past is evidence that, I'm responsible and I don't really have any skeletons in the closet. So, with that, any questions?
Thank you.
Fred, if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
So your latest offer is you've reduced the number of acres from 375 down to 290, is that right?
It's about that. And that all can be adjusted.
Yeah, and then the price remains the same?
We didn't change the price.
Okay, and then there's some other things that were brought up today, and I'd like, because I see that everything else in this revised offer stays the same, including the 12-month due diligence period, as well as the agricultural zoning. I think those could be problematic if you want to get a deal done with the board according to what we discussed this morning. Your thoughts?
Quite frankly, we didn't have time to address all that this afternoon. And between everything else, we just wanted to get something done, take care of the biggest problem. And as I mentioned to you, we can work through, I think, the other points. And what I'm hoping is that, we'll be able to work with staff, to get your input, to come back to us and say, what are those points that you collectively would like to see? I know this is the first time you've all been able to talk about this together, so if we had a consolidated response, then we could, address that.
Well, listen, for my vote, guys, I'd like to move forward with at least due diligence and have the opportunity for Mr. Hemmer to speak with Allison and Wes and kind of work through the issues that we had. I think it's a pretty strong concession that he moved it back to the 250 and brought something back. So I'd like to know your thoughts on it before I make a motion.
Board, any other comments? Commissioner Bender?
Yeah, I would just say, I don't have an issue with them discussing. I don't see any need for action on this board. As we said, there's still too much that, they didn't have time to address it. They sent out a quick letter. I think we were clear in some of the things that we stated this morning, and so I hadn't anticipated it to take any action tonight.
Fred, does that give you, so, he's free to call Wes or Allison, you're free to do, but it doesn't look like we're going to get a vote. But if you'd like to call Allison in the morning or Wes, you're free to do so.
Okay. Would there be any communication of, we had the 250, we dealt with that. I know you've had a couple other points, but I don't know if there's been a collective response that we can address all at once.
Fred, quick question. So this will all be for private development that will end up on the Avalon tax rolls?
Didn't you last?
I said all of the land, all of your development, none of it's for public, none of it's for schools and fire, it's all for private, correct?
Oh, not necessarily. I met with Keith Leonard this morning, and we talked about a potential school location.
No, I just asked.
On your part.
On your.
No, on your part. No, I'm kidding. No.
Well, and Jeff, we can't talk about this, and I know your position, and Kevin. I'm not a big supporter of not getting all this land back on the tax roll.
Well, me neither.
I'm really not. I'm not saying I'm not open to it. I'm saying sure. I'm not a big supporter of that, and so that probably needs to be further discussion, because I think one of the things we got to do is, this is valuable land. Yeah. We got to get it back on the tax roll, and I think there's other opportunities for fire stations and schools that are close by. But I'm open to it.
Well,
and I know that Kevin Adams and you, Jeff, have supported that. So, you and Stephen have led the charge. So I'm not going to get out front on Outline Field 8. I'm going to continue to let you and Commissioner Berry lead the charge. But certainly just want to give you my little input of what I've said about using that valuable land. We did a park for Navy Federal, and now we do a fire station, now we do a school, and then I'm still looking at what's the ROI for all the citizens, not just the people of Beulah. It's great that the people of Beulah like to come out, but it wasn't only the people of Beulah's money that paid for that. Sure. It was all of Escambia County that paid for it, and so all the citizens deserve an ROI. People deserve to have the neighborhood look the way they want the neighborhood to look, but there has been a great investment by all the citizens of Escambia County, and it needs to be an ROI for all the citizens of Escambia County, whether it's you know, Commissioner Bagash district, Commissioner Berry, or my district. I mean, we do need to be able to get an ROI on the land, so, and the jobs that were promised. So
Absolutely.
those are just my thoughts.
Yep.
If you just want my input for it, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but that's just kind of my public input.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Lubin, and the one thing I would agree with you on, I mean, that, he wouldn't put that on the 250 acres. The 250, we would still be able to, you know, bring in job creators. That would be on his portion that he would purchase. But I do, yeah. But I mean, you know, they're wanting 50 acres. You know that?
Not necessarily.
I told him no on 50. I mean,
Well, I know, I remember you did that, but
Yeah, I don't,
there's other options.
yeah, I'd like to believe
I don't
that.
think that's the number. I mean, I don't think that's the real number. So I mean, that can be discussed. I'm not comfortable necessarily taking action either. You know, the amended letter of interest is, you know, considerably better. I mean, you reduce the acreage, you keep the number, you keep your top line number the same, you've increased your per acre, you know, considerably, so that's attractive. You know, again, I'm not comfortable taking action, but Wes and Allison, I mean, all five of us here, Wes and Allison are here. You know, I don't have any issue with Wes and Allison continuing both to talk to all the five of us and you know, allowing them to communicate with Fred or Will Dunaway or whoever, or Scott in the audience, you know, about, you know, as they can build consensus that others can't, you know, and then they can communicate some of that, you know, some of that feedback, and fine going forward. Maybe it's something that we can have a more extensive discussion about, you know, in January. The number was not in the ballpark of what I thought was reasonable this morning. So, you know, I realized we got a new letter, but I really wasn't intending to take action on the previous LOI because, you know, that top line is the number, and that wasn't attractive. So I wasn't really prepared to discuss a lot of the other details. But, you know, perhaps we can get there in January, and if so, you know, I'm okay with that. If, you know, each of us can just kind of interact with Wes and Allison and see where we land. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item up is discussion with domes.
All right, board? No. Well, no, there's no speakers. I see Craig's in the audience, but there's no speakers, board. Where do y'all want to, I know we talked
this morning,
a
so
little bit, yeah.
If, I'm ready to make a motion then, if there's no discussion?
Well, see, you got the only light, Commissioner.
All right.
How about it?
So then I move to accept the interlocal and authorize the chairman to sign it.
Any discussion from the board? All right, hearing none, please vote. Item passes 5-0. Mr. Administrator?
That's my report, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Madam Counsel?
Thank you, sir. I can do these individually, or we can address all three items.
We have no speakers for her report.
All three.
There are three items on tonight's county attorney's report. I can answer any questions that you may have.
Entertain a motion.
I'd like to talk about the second one. I think I mentioned that this morning.
Okay, I move the first and the third item.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, please vote.
Okay.
Item 1 and item 3 pass 5-0. Commissioner Kohler, you have the floor.
Yeah, I think most of you have gotten emails about this case. I went back and looked at the history on this. I know I'm a nurse and I've done this stuff, but one of the things I was concerned about from the county on this case, in May of 2020, we paid $5,000 to FDOH. We accepted a letter of reprimand on our license to operate EM service in the state. Kenny was the training officer at that time. I've had, I'm trying to think, over the years, I had to sign every single month CPR stuff when I was a training officer. We had an audit on NAMI for ACLS. I've never, in 33 years as a nurse, heard of a letter of reprimand, ever, on anyone. And we've had missing CPR cards, we've had notified DHA, and we had a pretty extensive audit on ACLS. So that in itself, the county, and I don't know, Allison, I didn't get the letter of reprimand. I don't know if we're on probation. But here's the problem I have with this, because even though the criminal case was dropped, the Merit Service Protection Board should have been kicked in at that point. This individual refused that. So I'm concerned we're setting a terrible precedent by not using the MSRB. I spent about 30 minutes with Mr. Wells today just talking about this case. The other thing is this board has never petitioned ever the FDOH on any of these other cases on their investigative process. I believe the FDOH and the State Surgeon General has a very good investigative process. I've sat on 9 administrative boards. They're very competent. If we truly believe their investigative process is wrong, we should challenge them, or we should ask the governor to expunge this stuff. It's inappropriate to think that this is appropriate to accept the taxpayers of Escambia County to pay $90,000 for an inappropriate activity by an employee. Very rarely does an employee ever go to criminal action when they're relieved, fired, or terminated. And then these individuals, most of them still have disciplinary, administrative, or their license are null and void. And if any of you had spent the time just on FDOH and looked at this history, you would see this. I could never vote for this as a nurse or as a healthcare executive. I would be tarred and feathered. So I don't think the citizens of Escambia County should have to pay for this. And I know there's other legal reasons, jargon going on with the other case, but for me, it's personal, and I just can't do it. I'm a nurse.
The commissioners, any other?
I move the item in the affirmative.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner May, second. Any further discussion? Seeing no lights, please vote. Item passes 3-2 with Commissioner Kohler and Commissioner Bender in dissent. Madam Counsel.
That concludes my report.
Board, anything else? If not, happy holidays. See you next year.